Hi, this is my TL2116 Funding and Marketing in Sports and Enterprise Assignment 2 presentation. So for this presentation we had to come up with a funding bid for an external organisation. The organisation I work with was Tom Finney, as I'm a volunteer coach there. So they're a registered charity in Preston and they're a non-for-profit organisation, and I'm actually one of the coaches for the Pan Disability team and also a refugee coach where we offer free coaching for them. So some ideas for funding I came up with. So first of all, there's community development. I've been working out in the community lately, so some of the ideas coming up, satellite sessions to get more females and young girls involved, as that's a problem in the local area. Also developing new areas for young children to play. There's the adult Pan Disability team, so funding for transport to various tournaments, stuff like that, or potentially talent hubs for the more abled performers. There's also money to set up a new healthy lifestyle. A few of the carers won't always look after the disability players as much as they could, so coming up with something for that and maybe then help them to live independently might be something to look at. Also coaching 4 to 16 year olds again, good to Preston physical activity strategy in 2015-2020. This is a problem area, so again somewhere such a 4G pitch for more games to be played for young footballers, both male and female in the community. So this year's been horrendous for games being postponed, so that's an area, or a multi-sports area. Try broaden the horizon and give more kids opportunity to get involved and find a sport they like to stay involved in sport and a healthy active lifestyle. And lastly, coaching the refugee team, so bigger venues host more refugees perhaps, more money to buy kit and equipment. We're only a charity, so we don't, we only spend what we can get given to us. Money to cover cost of transport for people maybe from a bit further region from Preston, maybe look more towards the whole of Lancashire perhaps. And also English lessons or employability sessions to help the refugees and asylum seekers in the community get employed. But the project I chose to go with is the Refugee and Asylum Seeker Football Project. And the name I came up with for the project was actually Praise Football Project, and Praise stands for Preston Refugee and Asylum Seeker Inclusion and Sport Ecology Project, Football Project. So the aim of this is to provide an opportunity for all refugee and asylum seekers in Preston the opportunity to play football and receive coaching, predominantly, but then also try and help them. One of the objectives is to help give them an equal opportunity to play, train as many youngsters in the community can, but also helping them to become more employable, help them transfer skills from that they learn in football into the working environment. So the types of things we'll be looking to fund would be buying more kit, higher transport, covering venue costs for sessions, helping other volunteer coaches become more qualified to give them the right training they need, and as previously mentioned, English and or employability session of career advisors. So first of all, with my idea I did a consultation, so I spoke to the participants, coaches, volunteers already involved with the project, committee members of Sir Tom Finney Soccer Centre, the activity coordinator for the British Red Cross in charge of organising all the refugee and asylum seekers to turn up to football at the moment, potential funders and the venue organisers. And so here's just an example of the consultation interview I did for some stakeholders for the current project. So why is football important to them? What do they hope to see come of this project? What new improved things would they like to see happen? So it's just focused at getting an understanding of what they want as a whole from the project. So following this, I did some market research to make sure The target areas hit. So obviously we need to focus on the products, the price, the place, the people, process, promotion, physical evidence. This is called the marketing mix. So the product is obviously the football sessions, so it's attraction. So many players, refugees, asylum seekers, they won't have been able to play on a 3G surface before, just be used to a dusty, so that's quite a big attraction for them. But also employability sessions is a chance for them to improve their quality of life. Price, there isn't a price, hence why we're trying to fund, because the refugee and asylum seekers get given £37.65 council, off the council to live per week, which is not a lot at all. I think many people probably go about spending that in the first 2-3 days or a week, so we can't be asking for £3 or £4 contribution to run these sessions. It's just not right in any way. Place is play football, so this means it's accessible for refugees and asylum seekers from Forward, Ashton, Ribble, Cotton, so it's all local pressing areas, trying to draw all those people in. The process we need to go through is we need a willing team of volunteer coaches to give, willing to give up their time to give a little bit back to the community and help these guys improve their lives who have gone through an awful lot. Heard many of the stories, talking to the refugee and asylum seekers in my consultation, and I want to help them improve their life as well. Promotion, so obviously there's a lot of confidential information regarding them, so any contact and promotion of this football event would have to go through the British Red Cross activity coordinator. She's got all their contact details, so she would personally have to message them, as we can't be having their contact details. Physical evidence of this happening, we'd also seen the numbers that turned up to the sessions. That's a great indicator to whether it would be working or not, but obviously it's an important thing. We make sure that during the promotion phase everyone gets messages to turn up. So feasibility of this project, I come up with 2 SMART targets, one primarily based on the employability side of things, one sort of focused on the footballing side of things. So first of all, this football activity sort of side of things is participants shall achieve at least 60 minutes of activity per week. So we can keep a register of this, who turns up, who doesn't turn up. It's achievable as there's 2 1-hour sessions planned per week. So there's plenty of opportunity to come and get involved and do some activity. It's realistic as participants live in the local area, so it's easy for them to commute to, they don't have to get public transport or anything like that. The time's going to be over 30 weeks with, again, 2 1-hour sessions per week, so there's plenty of opportunity for them to achieve those targets really. The second set of SMART targets is trying to get at least 15 participants, get them a job working in the local community, and as well as getting 25 others a job interview. Obviously they've come over to the UK trying to improve their life, to escape conflict from their own country, so we need to try and help them get back on their feet. Again, it's measurable, we can keep a register, who turns up to the sessions, etc. It is achievable, I believe, as there's a lot of open opportunities of people in the local community looking for jobs, and employees are looking to employ people. It's realistic as, again, there's a lot of jobs on offer, and we need to help these refugee and asylum seekers get back on their feet and improve their quality of life based on equalities. It's just not fair for what them being discriminated against. Also, time 30 weeks, and these employee sessions will be running once a week for 1 hour. So this again, it should be plenty enough time to sort of work on what they need to in a 30-week period. So one of the most important parts of this is the potential funders. So we've got Sport England, Children in Need, Awards for All, and the Football Foundation. The Sport all provide up to £10,000, like we have for the assignment. So obviously there's regulations between each. most of the time you have to be a non-for-profit organisation, otherwise they won't be willing to fund as you're trying to make profit for yourself, which isn't what we're trying to do. We're trying to give back to the community. So I looked at all of these and thought about which would best suit the project I was working for. Overall, I figured out that the National Lottery Fund Awards for All would be the best. Obviously, Sir Tom Finney is a registered charity, so it meets the application requirements. The project plans to improve the community workforce, make it more cohesive and less unfulfilled jobs in the local community. It also meets 2 of the 3 funding priorities for the project to potentially happen. So it brings people together and builds a strong relationship within the local community, but also it enables more people to fulfil their potential, which is a massive thing. And most of all this fits in with Preston's local strategy to improve the infrastructure of the local community, including people, skills and facilities. So this here is just a screenshot of the funding application that I went through. So I've got my project name, and then there's a small bit about why the bid should go ahead. Talks about why I feel like the project deserves funding here, which is a massive part to try and convince the funder to give us the funding. Again, this next section is just a bit about the cost. So obviously venue hire will cost this amount. Obviously then it all works up to about just under £10,000, so it's clear we need the funding, and we should then, it gives us a little leeway if we need to go a little bit over, for example, extra few pairs of trainers or volunteer coaches, for example, or new equipment, but the venues are covered and the wages for the career advisors are covered as well. So the financial implications of this project. Obviously, receiving £10,000 of funding, there's a lot, it's a lot of money to take care of, so you need to consider the profit and loss sheets, balance sheets and cash flow. So obviously profit and loss, determine how much profit and loss you make. It says profit, any profit we do make we spend straight away, we don't keep it for ourselves, the organisation. Balance sheets, again, it's important, setting out what you already have, what you haven't got, what you're getting, things like that. Cash flow, keeping track of the payments, receipts that we make for the with the funding we have. So that's another key thing in this project. So another key thing is a project report and monitoring this. So we need to make sure it's monitored right, because if it's not, it might not be succeed as well as we hope. So for example, we might be 5 to 10 weeks in and numbers start to high, but then they just suddenly drop. We need to then address that, otherwise we'll be wasting the funding money. So obviously important things we need to do to make sure that project report monitoring is successful is to communicate the budget we have with all the staff, knows what needs to be spent on, when, where and for what reasons. Tracking expenditure, obviously making sure payments are made on time, not to overspend also, which is a massive thing. You can see how much is left potentially to invest in it for the future. Pay back previous loans if taken out. It also shows current and new funders that you're a reliable organisation in terms of when you want to apply for funding in the future. So evaluating success, it's quite tricky to evaluate success when you're not a profit organisation, but ways of doing this is obviously for us, the participation rate at football sessions, the number of participants in the employability sessions. We then look at who achieved an interview or a job, local community, and we'd obviously based on whether the career advisors sessions have been working. And we'd also see if the budget was okay, so we stuck to what we said, it came out to what we thought it would be. And then also, is there an option to carry on this project for the future to make it sustainable? Obviously, in the planning of this, we plan it to be sustainable so we can keep it rolling on for hopefully longer than 30 weeks. So more refugees and asylum seekers coming into Preston, and maybe the whole of Lancashire can start to get involved in a local job within the community. That's my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.